like, cause all.
This time's for you. Are you guys ready? Okay then, begin!
Let the match begin!
It's time to duel! Let's begin!
Venomots! Roll battle!
それでは第9回戦
この発旋部
Ooh. Round table is back. It's been a minute. It felt like it's been a minute since I did pursued on something. So gotta actually be online with the people. I don't know. But other than that, for Cartel Round Table, it's Made Spider King, aka the head of the table. Shout out to everybody got us to 10K on Facebook. Follow the page, like the page, subscribe to the page. Put the little, baby. It's a measly little $4.99.
Hey, Chris,
somebody got $5. I bet everybody got $5 in their pocket right now.
You got the cellophane in the mic, Chris. Hollywood, my bad.
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
Subscribe a little $4.99 to the page on Facebook. But we are on IG, Twitter, TikTok. We are on Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Samsung Podcast. If you listen to podcasts, just download the episodes, support us. United States is back #1 with us. I'm sorry, Germany. I'm sorry, Brussels. You was #1, but we got to rep America this week. I'm just saying. So, Spotify crew, download the episodes. We'll be in there. We're gonna have a new YouTube channel coming up, so subscribe to that. And we're gonna have a giveaway. So the niggas that dropped out watching this, so you're assed out, mate. But for people just watching now, appreciate you. We're gonna have a little giveaway, $50 giveaway, and I'll explain that at the end of the episode. I kind of want to force y'all to watch the whole thing, but it's neither here nor there. But all my co-hosts right now coming up. What's up with y'all?
What's good, bro? Zell Nobel, Blerd, Cartel.
Bars.
Shout out to all the projects. Shout out to all the fellow affiliates that be pushing our content. And it's good to be here. You know what I mean? Zell Nobel. I'm with my boy Hollywood Sensei from What It Sound Like. Got my boy Aitai Zuku in the building. Obviously, Spider Cam in the building. It's a good day.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? I'm just out with the guys. I'm playing Magic right now. I'm trying to catch some dubs while we talk about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to talk about this world building today, man.
Bars.
Not Magic. You need to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's time to duel. I mean, it's your boy Hollywood Sensei, man.
Oh, nigga.
Blerd Cartel, What It Sound Like. Follow your boy on the talk. Hollywood_Sensei 215, man.
Before we start, I had somebody in the inbox come to me as a man and say, I've been taking all your content and I want to do everything correctly. Do you think it's too late? Do you think it's petty? Should we not just make bygones be bygones? I don't know. But, for everybody stealing our content, we will provide daily content for y'all and support your hopes and dreams, being on TikTok or Facebook or that matter. So We got y'all. We got y'all.
The Cartel.
I know when it comes to y'all.
Subscribe at least.
I know when it comes to y'all. I know when it comes to y'all, it'll be sheetrock drywall baby formula, but we have, you know, that blue magic, that stuff to touch your nose, you know, forehand. So I'm just saying, it is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. Shout out to everybody that's all affiliates. We will be at BlerdCon. We will be traveling around with our Cartel shirt on, what it sound like shirt on, and the new shows we got going on. You know, be ready for that. We're gonna have a whole 7-day weekly system going on, so be ready for that. Subscribe to the new YouTube channel that is coming.
Blerd Cartel TV is the YouTube channel. You know what I mean? We're gonna have that up and running. Let's get it.
Don't steal from that. Don't steal clips from that. But other than that, we're gonna talk about best world building. You know, just building the lore, building the characters, building the everything that goes along with your favorite shows, TV, music, not music, but TV, anime, cartoons, movies. So we can talk about it. So anybody got one in mind?
Well, look, talk about it. So we're doing top fives in our discussion because I kind of got questions.
Where's the discussion?
Well, yeah. What do y'all?
What questions you got? Which ones you got?
What do y'all like? What is world building? Like, what do y'all like? Because when I first heard the term, I just kind of just took it as like how big you make your world. Like, you know what I mean? Like how far your world goes. Like, but the more I've been learning about it, is it more about like develop characters in this world, develop situations in this world, or is it about the actual size of your world? Like, what do y'all think?
I think it is what you make it. If you take like the Matrix, right? You only got what people perceive as reality, and so it's kind of like a small world to be at, but it's actually bigger than what it is because the machines took over. Everybody's in the simulation world, and then you have the world where you wake up, and the world where you go to the underground world and the real world and stuff like that. The shit that Morpheus was showing Neo and stuff like that. And then you got the machine world and stuff like that, and architect, and he made everything. So it's just like that's kind of like the world building I'm thinking. Just like in this.
Are you thinking of multiple different environments making up a world? Is that what you go for?
Yeah, just like what you perceive as like this is it. This is what the world is to me, and then you wake up in a different setting and you get taught of what happened in that world for that to be happen. Just from the Matrix standpoint, it's layers to it. How bad the movie was, there's still layers to it. How the world got built.
All right, the Matrix wasn't a bad movie. All right, Izuku, you think you could start?
Yeah,
the third movie was bad. We're not doing it.
No, it wasn't. Go.
So when I think about world building, I think about everything that's not the exact plot. You know, so it's like the plot may intertwine with world building. Like for instance, in Harry Potter, how they had like the Horcrux later. But so that adds to the world building because it's like, oh, someone could do this, right? But I think that when you are like really looking at the world building of Harry Potter, it comes down to everything else. It comes down to like, where do the wizards like to go? What do they like to do? Like, what's it like for the humans? You know, it's like it starts getting to the politics of the world and the structure of the world itself. Like One Piece is another good example. Like if we're talking about the world building of One Piece, we're really talking about the world government, the shape of the planet, the islands. Do the islands interact with each other and things like that? For me, that's usually where my mind goes when I think about world building.
What about you, Hollywood?
Yeah, when I think about world building, my mind instantly go to all right, what is like the history of this said world we in? You know what I mean? The geography of it, you know what I mean, the places, all that, you know what I mean? What occupies the world, you know what I mean? You know, like Logan said, the politics, all that. I mean, just it's just not plot based. You know what I mean? It's what's going around, what's going on within the world. You know what I mean? That's what I
Okay.
look at
All
for
right.
good
So
world building.
all right. So world building to you is like the more stuff that is going on in this world, that's the more world building it is.
Yeah.
All right.
And if you got backstory, like I said, with history, you know what I mean, all that shit.
Mhm. Okay. All right. That's kind of. So I feel like when we talk about it, I almost feel like people have different definitions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um. But yeah.
I mean, does like Naruto have world building? Yes, but you gotta wait till Boruto to get full enhancement of like what's going on within everything.
So what is the world building in Naruto? Is that like the different villages that we visit, or is it like the history of like Jinchuriki and all of that stuff that
It's
makes
all of it's both of
all of it?
those.
But
Yeah.
will you get the original Naruto and just get Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, Sakura, third Hokage, and everybody else. So you realize what the kids are going through in the Chunin exam and everything to become the actual ninjas, right? And then you get the Chunin exams and stuff, and afterwards you get the attack on the village, right? And it's a kind of a replay of how the first attack on the village happens, but you don't know that until Shippuden. So it's just like you just know that Orochimaru's attacking the village, killed the third. They got to find a new Hokage. You don't know there's a fourth Hokage actually, and then the third is actually taking a second term as the third Hokage, and then you find a fifth Hokage. And you're just going through the motions of Naruto and Sasuke. You don't get too much backstory to Shippuden, but it's like, oh, Hashirama did this with Madara, and then that happened, and then that happened to Uchiha, and then that happened with the fox attacking the village, and then that happened with Minato and Kushina, and that happened with, you get more backstory of that, and then, oh, there's a Cloud Village, there's a Mist Village. You knew what the Mist Village was Zanzibar. But there's a Cloud Village, there's a Sand Village. Beyond that is another village, and Boruto, it's a space galaxy thing with these Asuki niggas. So it's just like, it's a journey, but it's world building, nonetheless.
Okay.
Right.
Frog Nation, the frog thing with what Jiraiya went through, you knew that Shippuden.
Yeah.
Is it good? Is it good world building?
Anything that Rain Village.
Like I don't read Boruto or watch it. Are they doing a good job with the world building right now?
I think that the
Like
world that
They're doing something.
I mean, they got the different villages. They got technology now. You know what I mean? We got space ninjas. You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah,
but
man.
but even in the movies, it's like they have movie theaters in the movies. They have snow ninjas in the movies. I mean, I don't know if they count as canon, but shit happens.
Yeah, I would say it's good but not great.
Right.
It's not fantastic. It's okay. And it's not very impressive either. I think overall the story is, not the story, but the world building in Naruto is kind of lacking because I end up with more questions than answers. And I feel like, to me, great world building answers questions. Like you have an understanding of what's going on. Like, I'm going to use a weird example here, but Kids Next Door, for example, in Kids Next Door, by the end of the series, you have a really good idea of what goes on in this world. It's like every other adult's evil or maybe a villain. They're trying to force kids to do things. Kids and teenagers are in between there trying to stop it, and it's like it almost doesn't make you compare it to the real world. You're just like you're like fully into their world and existence. I don't think Naruto achieves that. I think it takes steps towards that. But I'm often like the fact that Konoha is under a major city that's called Konoha and like they don't go there is weird as fuck to me. The fact that cell phones and things exist in Naruto, but like they don't use them, but they use like walkie-talkie ear things, but they don't use other technology. That's strange to me. Like I was thinking about just last thing on that real quick. How weird this is one of the reasons I think it's not particularly great world building. Like, how weird is it that they're like, oh, I don't know where he is. I can't sense his chakra. But it's like you could just get a radar. A radar would be able to tell where he is. You don't need chakra
Do
now.
you think with most anime, all their world building comes in fillers, and it's up to you to figure that out?
No,
Nah,
I don't think so.
I don't think so at all. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
I think there's often good world building in fillers though.
Like, what was the one Bleach arc
Bounce.
that had good world building in it, but it was a filler.
Yeah, the
You know
bounce.
what I mean? So Bounce
Oh,
Punk Hazard. They shit on that art for One Piece, but it was good world building in that, right?
Yeah, it's not a filler either.
Well, I wasn't say it was filler, but I'll just say arcs they shit on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck it, it wasn't that great, but it's still good world building, so it had its uses on it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Would y'all say that Avatar has good world building?
I'd say yeah, as a whole. Like if you add the Last Airbender and Korra together, yeah.
Yeah, only if you add all three. I mean, not all three, both of the series combined, then yeah.
Yeah. Together, I'll give them good world building.
Don't get them light novel niggas.
I know we were talking about the one day we were talking about
that Bleach light novel is different. You know what I mean? That's all I'm gonna say.
I ain't read that. Yeah, I was. I remember y'all was saying before. Well, not y'all, but in the chat we was talking, and it was saying like how like One Punch Man don't got like world building, but like I feel like that's like kind of what the show is like kind of centered on, because we don't really see much of like Saitama the whole entire time. We're like we getting like side characters development. We're finding out about their lives and their environments and different things that's going on, and you know what I mean. Like we got different developments that happen, but then I saw that it was like a lot of people together saying like this isn't good world building, so it just had me kind of like confused.
I would consider that good world building. You know what I mean?
I would think so too.
You know what I mean? When you could have developments and other events that happen with other characters besides the protagonist, you know what I mean? That
all right, okay,
that helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did say it's kind of away from the plot. So if the plot is driven like by the protagonist, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think that see, world building is tough to me because for me, if the world is even kind of believable, I gotta say your world building is good, right? Because there are worlds that are absolutely not believable at all.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like I think most series have good world building because the world that they set up is fine. Like One Punch Man's world is made to be simple. So it's not a complex world and it's not trying to be. So like expecting it to be really complex all of a sudden would be weird. And for what it does, it still has decent world building. Like everything that's going on in their world is crazy. But that being said, I do think that when you go to compare it to other stuff is when the world building really looks weak.
Yeah,
And
I could agree with OPM being characterization based.
yeah, and that's one of the things where it's like comparing world building is not really fair, because things can be so different from each other. So it's like, why would I compare the world building of Sailor Moon and Pokemon? Really, like I get
I
nothing
mean,
out of it.
it's definitely comparable. It's just like a you can see like it's obvious like which world building is like, you know what I mean, which was more focused. I feel like once you have a anime that's based, or a story period that's based in adventure, the world building is going to look a lot. It's going to feel a lot bigger. It's going to feel a lot like more because you're visiting different environments. But I'm just not too convinced that world building isn't just like different developments and different characters' lives, because their worlds are like I'm learning more about their worlds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and
Well,
these
like
worlds,
it can be though.
why?
They don't have to be separate. It's like world building can be related to the characters' opinions and feelings and their growth. It just doesn't have to be. Like, oh, Lord of the Rings is another thing that's like that, right? Like Lord of the Rings has tons of world building. It also has tons of character development, right? But like you could also look at them separately. You don't have to like look at them together at all. Like there's so much to their world that has nothing to do with any of the like
Mhm.
individual characters.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the angle and what you're trying to get at when you're having the conversation.
Right.
Like if you look at our background, it'd be ranking in kings. I think it has shit world building because it didn't explore all the kingdoms and their rankings and how this guy's number one versus anybody that's in like the bottom 10 and like being the king. But I no no shade to Otis for making the
I
background,
think
but
Ranking of Kings is good world building. Like it's
it didn't.
it's a good pace. It's like we're still learning about the world. They didn't just like dump it all on us. Like, but I can see by the style of writing that there are developments that are happening. There's things that happened in the first season that I'm curious about seeing later. I know that the world.
So you got to see it later. It's not like, all right, if you had to compare like a season one, all right, let's compare what happened in Ranking the Kings, right, to season one Attack on Titan.
See, this is what I was saying. It's when you compare it that the difference starts coming in so much.
So who had better world building, the season one Attack on Titan or just Ranking
I
the
just
Kings?
feel like Attack on Titan, just because it's faster paced, I don't think that necessarily means that it has better world building, because you get like the first season of Attack on Titan was kind of like Ranking of Kings. We still didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like we still were just like we knew.
But
the
Ranking the Kings, we got a better idea. There's a ranking system. There's an underworld. There's a regular world. There's that, but
so Ranking
Attack
the
on
Kings,
Titan.
So that would be better world building. It's more elements to, you know what I mean?
Well, more
right, but
more
AOT was just like, I crumbled the wall and there's Titans in the wall. The fuck?
Yeah. Ranking of Kings says if we talk about season one versus season one, Ranking of Kings has better world building.
See, my thing is in this conversation, I feel like y'all are talking about plot really. Like I feel like I didn't hear any of the stuff about the world. Like all I heard was the ranking from Ranking of Kings, and then that there are Titans. No one talked about the walls. Nobody talked about the different core groups. Nobody talked about like the fact that these people in Attack on Titan are like traumatized over time because of these situations.
We don't know. We don't know.
But we do know. we
Well,
do see
season
Now we
one,
know. We didn't know at the
season
Well,
season
no,
one.
in the season one, we know that people are traumatized from these attacks. We see Aaron's trauma and people's trauma around him. We know that. That's part of the world already.
We don't know that Mari is sending these niggas over there to just
yeah,
traumatize these
we don't
niggas.
Yeah,
know
but we
how.
don't.
We don't know
We don't
that.
know anything.
But we don't need to because
I'm
that's
just saying,
the plot.
even knowing that the ranking system is a part of how the world works, that's part of the world building because it's giving us an idea of how the world is running, and
Right,
that
but
everybody in the world is is in on this, so it's part of the world building.
right, but if you were going to make an argument for the world building and ranking of kings, I feel like you would do better by talking about the world rather than the plot. Like if you talk about the fact that there are demons, that there are giants, that
Yeah,
there are orcs,
all that too.
that there's this.
I could if we go one for one, I can only go from what I know. There's Titans, there's regular people.
Right,
That's
and that's
it.
what I'm
And then
saying.
it's
So
just
it's like
like
if you're actually talking about the world and not the plot, then just limiting it to season one makes Ranking of Kings come out way stronger because
Yeah.
there's so much more to the world.
I said that. It's an underworld, it's all that other
Oh,
stuff.
right. See, I thought when you started this, when you first asked that question, Kim, I thought you were saying that Attack on Titan had better world building.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think
No, what I'm saying is you see just it's he hit the wall off as a Titan in the wall. All right, cool. That just leads to more of what I can see in the next season. And Ranking of Kings, Despot got the throne room and stuff like that, and Boji became an adventurer. So, I mean, which one would be enticed to see more? Just like Boji be an adventurer? We already saw that in season one. Or why are Titans in this fucking wall and stuff like that? So I would think it's either what you got or what you're looking forward to. That's the question I would have.
Yeah, just like the fact that you could, like, in season one, we know you can make deals with the devil. Like, you can make sacrifices and you can, you know what I mean, live on.
I can give you that. I can give you that.
And all of this, all these are moving parts. And the one kingdom guy, he's ranked number 2, but he got something that's on his mind, and he's like, I feel like that's all like building up a world that I'm anxious to see. Attack on Titan, I was just kind of in the mystery at that point. I don't know who's the bad guy. I don't know who's the good guy. I gotta wait until the end.
Well, I think a good deal of that also has to do with tone.
True.
Because the tone of the situation is going to make you think about certain things more than others. Because it's like, even though we didn't think about some of the things that were there on Attack on Titan, they still were there. Our brains just didn't go there. So, and it's like, and that's what, like, this conversation about world building is like extremely retrospective. It's like you're always looking back and seeing all the pieces that you didn't necessarily catch before that add up to the big picture. So, and then, yeah, go ahead, Murray.
Oh no, you can finish.
No, I don't got nothing else to say. I was
Murray Hudson,
going off the cuff.
overall 99.
Welcome,
jumping in on RNT.
Sorry, a little bit of lateness. A little bit of some of everything. When it comes to world building, I would say Attack on Titan had fine world building for its season 1. Because I think, like Atazuku was saying, we're confusing world building with a lot of the plot. If I look at the world building of Attack on Titan, to me, my definition of world building is how alive or how developed or explained is your world of whatever anime or manga you're making, independent of its main characters. How alive is your world? How developed, how explained, what goes on in your world, independent of the character and their goals. So if I look at Attack on Titan season 1 strictly, as far as I can remember, was they developed or explained a world where it was surrounded by walls and humanity is inside of just this one layer of walls. Within this layer, there are 3 walls, which there are 3 divisions of the military that run these sections of walls. Each military does their own thing. And the people live here in relative peace as of recently, at least this last generation of people. So it had a fine developed story. And then they expand that over the rest of the series and saying, oh, there's more people than just people in this wall. Outside the wall, there's actually an ocean. There's actually more continents of people. There's actually more countries of different things. There's more Titans in the 4 that you see. They expand on that. But the initial premise that they set up is fine, and they explore and expand that world to by the end of the first season. Even though it goes to where Cam was saying, "Oh, I can see a picture of Titans on the wall." That was just a snippet, but that wasn't really the main focus of the world building that they had given to you. That was just something they showed at the end of the credits. But everything else, whether it was like Annie defecting over, like showing you the survey corps and how that corps operates, and giving you snippets of the other corps members, and they developed that world to me fine, and then they just expanded on that world building by giving you other aspects of said world.
What I meant by that was they set up everything in a whole to how many episodes they had, and then after all this, you gonna tell me it's Titans in the wall? Oh, then I need to see the season 2 ASAP. You know what I mean? So it's just like it just I'm just saying if it builds your curiosity. Not saying most 12 episode or 24 episode anime doesn't have good world building. I'm just saying for this one, it's just like, all right, I'm very curious to why there's a Titan in the wall, and it's gonna make me watch season 2. You know what I mean? So just like, I'm not taking away anything how it's constructed through a 24 episode season or a 12 episode season. Is this one how it was built? It's gonna make me want to watch furthermore.
Now, I will say Attack on Titan as a whole has incredible world building, almost because they faked me out that first season where I thought the world was small. I still thought the world was like humanity. We're confined in this, and this is all we got is we got to break out, and then we get to the world. Oh, I want to see the water and the ocean and all that. Like, you know what I mean? But by the end of the whole entire series, you actually do see how big the world is. You actually do see all of these moving parts and how they clash and how the gears shift on each other. But in the first season 1, I just didn't get a lot of world, and I'm fine with that. I'm not the type of person who necessarily needs the world building all the time. I like to see how everything how they decide to pace it, and I'm okay with mysteries and stuff like that. But I just didn't see a lot of world building from them in the beginning. There was just a lot of mystery, just a lot of confusion to me.
I'll ask this question: what anime have you? Well, all right. How do I word this? What manga have you seen have great world building that the anime failed to display for our viewer?
I'm gonna leave this for y'all manga heads. I'm light on the manga tip.
I mean, my first is Promised Neverland, but we're gonna leave that in the dust.
That's low hanging fruit.
When that happens,
Yeah,
it is low hanging fruit. But shout out to Steven saying Toriko. Actually, I'm not gonna shout out Steven. Shout out to Facebook user for saying Toriko before you did. So I'm not gonna shit on niggas. Hunter.
Which is still going.
That. I'm definitely saying Promised Neverland. Read that manga. Read that manga.
I like Hunter world building. I feel like if it didn't stop, we would have got a lot.
That's why I say it's still going.
Yeah, that show's still going. We can't call it yet.
Be like still going and keep that going dead.
But what one failed to give you what they were offering from the manga?
Oh, did they?
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yugs?
The Yu-Gi-Oh manga is like it hits so different. Like,
oh
so
yeah, you told
different.
me about this.
Tim was out of pocket.
Yeah, man. And it's like they just like skipped over so much stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh for no reason.
We had to make it for kids.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that, but like it's like kids still would have liked it if they had just like, made it cool.
Like what Yugi do? He like was about to light somebody on fire or something like that.
Yeah, man. The niggas was wild.
Nah, Yugi Zero was on some Saw game shit. It's like, oh, you bumped Taya? You're in the Shadow game now.
Yeah, guess what?
I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And
You're gonna lose.
Taya was showing ass and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Taya wanted that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm saying.
Gotta reboot. We gotta reboot Yu-Gi-Oh for the old heads.
Monterey, do you got something that didn't deliver in
I was trying to think,
in anime form.
yeah, I was trying to think of world building wise, something that doesn't show everything it's supposed to. I'll just say, because I don't want to say Tokyo Ghoul necessarily, because that deviates a lot more from just plot than world building. I'll say Soul Eater doesn't show a lot of what the world really is when it comes to the world of witches, when it comes to the background of different antagonists, even like the Kishin himself,
Well,
the
yo,
depth of the
wasn't that
academy.
with Fire
It's a
Force?
lot it
before?
doesn't show.
Did they do that with Fire Force? They like
Fire Force isn't finished. Like, unfortunately, Fire Force only has 2 seasons, so it's not like. Luckily, season 3 was announced, but it still has a way to go to actually show more of what the manga is actually put forth there. So I'm not gonna put that there. But Soul Eater technically finished anime wise, and halfway through the anime, at like a major plot point, it deviates severely, and they don't really show the depth of a lot of people, the depth of the places that they go, mentalities, areas, even like certain concepts that are explained in the show are not really focused down upon and explored as much as they're supposed to. So it's a lot Soul Eater doesn't show. And just Fire Forces.
I did want to ask this as for us being adults, right?
Right.
So the Marvel MCU is not the greatest world building you've seen as an adult.
Hold on, live action films. If we talking live action films strictly, they do a really good job.
Yes, they do a good job. It's not the best I've seen.
Well, hold on. You seen Iron Man, right? You seen Iron Man 1 to Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, right? That's not the best world building you've seen.
Look, when quality
in your eyes, your
quality.
Your 2 eyes. I have my 4 right here.
Does this not do the other things that have like book adaptations, like the Harry Potter verse, the Lord of the Rings verse? Do those verses not count in world? If I don't count those,
Iron Man came out in. Hold on. Let me do my research. Iron Man came out
as
what?
a child seeing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I promise you, I can recall seeing that as a child coming out of the movie theater.
I understand that, but you seen Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
Right. You seen I'm saying from Iron Man to Multiverse of Madness. This is world building at its finest.
No, I'm not denying it's great world building. I'm not denying it. I'm not going to deny it. It is great world building.
It's a lot of quality and a lot of quantity.
It just depends on. To me, I say the answer to that question comes down to how nitpicky are you of the comic books transcribed into movie form.
All right. Iron Man came out in 2008, so we're 2022.
It's about 16 years.
Right. A world building of the MCU. What are we talking about?
Like the whole focus, I agree, is world building. The entire focus is.
Okay.
You got just New York.
All right, hold on.
Multiverses.
Let's see what Taizuku got to say.
Like,
he's the judge right now.
Nah, it's okay.
He's not a Marvel fan.
Like I like the X-Men a lot. And I like the Fantastic Four, but like the rest of it,
so basically no MCU shit.
Yeah, like I don't fuck with it. Like, in fact, I hated most of those characters before they started making movies about them. Except for
my god!
No, like if we're talking about like the shows have better world building than all of the movies. Like,
all right, so hold on. Due to the fact I just saw Doctor Strange maybe 3 days ago. But
hold on. Did you like it?
I liked it barely, but I give it I give it a 7. Right?
I thought you would like it for the one part.
It was it was like, oh my god, the way they did. Okay, that's a separate episode. The way they did Black Bolt, because that's not how it fucking works.
Did my boy so dirty.
Okay, so when Black Bolt, when fucking Black Bolt screams, right? Like, hey, you know, I seen all the ignorant black folks. Oh, we got a tuning fork on his head. Oh, that's the way he projects his fucking power because he doesn't have to fucking speak to do his shit. So just like if Wanda took away his mouth, right? He could just project all his power into the fucking tunic. Never mind. All right.
Like I
I'm
said,
sorry.
it comes down to how
I'm sorry.
nitpicky you are.
I
on the
apologize. I'm
actual
sorry.
comic book stuff.
I'm sorry.
Which is how you determine
I'm
that
sorry.
world building aspect. I knew that.
cool,
That's why
yo.
I
This
said
is-
that. It depends on how nitpicky you are. If you're not
I'm
super
sorry.
nitpicky,
I'm sorry.
then
It's cool.
you're not
yo.
gonna
They all
care. If
got
you're
ran
super
through,
nitpicky,
bro.
you're gonna have a problem with like Civil War not having
Black folk can wipe you out with a single scream. Oh, what mouth? Oh, I just died. Like, fuck. Is that how it works? Is that how the fucking... All right. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
have such a fucking problem with it's one of the biggest franchises. Throwing world building in there, nah, bro, I'm not going for it.
Nah, for real.
You don't hold on. You don't like when Captain America wakes up and black people waking up and having lunches with people. Oh, where's the segregation at? What,
I'm gonna
so no segregation? What's going
I'm
on?
gonna start comparing it to things, okay? When I look at something like the MCU, which I think is at best like a jigsaw puzzle, like to like Adventure Time, where it's like everything's world building. Every time you see a new location, it's adding onto the world. Every time you see a new character, they're in charge of something that adds onto the world. There's plot that moves from the beginning that all connects everything even further, even without like there's a point in Adventure Time where they go away from the main characters entirely and they build onto the world, and it keeps growing and it keeps getting things added onto it to the point where there's sequels for Adventure Time that have little to nothing to do with the main characters, and it's still consistent within the same world. Marvel struggles to do that. Marvel struggles to have something that is consistent. Like all their movies, the like graphic fidelity of their movies is consistent. The quality of the worlds that they're building and the interaction between them isn't. Like for as interactive as their worlds are presented to be in the MCU, in reality, they're so disconnected in a way that makes no sense. Like, you know, there's such a huge event going on with these people that talk to each other on their cell phone and tell each other slick jokes, but like they don't even show up for the event, you know. And it's like that is a huge problem with superhero worlds in general, because it's like, you know, Batman will be in some ridiculous situation and it's like Superman doesn't show up, and it's like, why does Superman not show up? There's no explanation as to why. Like, and it's flaws.
Real quick, Logan. Does Recess have a good world building?
I haven't watched Recess in a long time, but I'm gonna say
it all takes place on the playground. So
they explain their school, and you got some aspects outside of the school.
I'm gonna say like, I mean, you know we even understand the political structure of their school, which is, I mean, that's saying a lot.
So I have a question then. So since we're talking about world building and what makes good world building, what example, not counting the MCU naturally, because I feel like there's gonna be one person to answer, not counting the MCU, what would you consider bad world building? What's an example of something you would consider bad world building?
Inception.
Zoids.
Zoids? My heart.
You just get in a giant robot and fight niggas. That's it for money.
I mean, it ain't much premise to that show. It's just like, hey, bro, we got these robots. Like, this is basically a sport, like almost like IGPX or.
I get all that, like, but it's just that's it.
Like that's it.
Digimon also has bad world building.
Jesus.
Unfortunately, I would have to agree with Atazuku, because if they have a franchise that's maybe not as big, but like comparable in some ways to the Pokemon franchise, and they do nothing to explore the world, it's just like every season is not connected to its previous season in a lot of ways, except for seasons 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh got bad world building. Then that's the case.
Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon have the same problem, where their world building is bafflingly disconnected. And it's like, it makes you wonder, like Yu-Gi-Oh 5D starts off with these niggas racing motorcycles and dueling against the police
and that's what
in Trash City. And it's like, what is happening? Why? How do we get here? What? And then they almost immediately.
How did we
drop
get
it.
here?
They
How
almost
did we
immediately
get here?
That's where
I love all right. Shameful plug. I love 5Ds.
I love 5Ds too.
That's why I stopped. I'm sorry. The motorcycles was just such a turn off for me.
Yo, they had episodes. They had
It was such a
episodes with
turn
no
off, man. I'm
motorcycles.
sorry. It was
They
such
had
a turn
episodes
off.
with no motorcycles.
It was such a
I
turn off.
honestly would go out there and say it's probably one of the better seasons of Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm not knocking it. I just the motorcycle, like the premise of them, battling with cards and being strategic duelists, quote unquote.
Hold on. Okay, real quick. Do you want Yu-Gi-Oh GX where Jaden was dueling the devil to bring his friends back to life, or you want GX where they ride a motorcycle?
You know, the crazy thing about it, him dueling devils to bring friends back to life compared to the former season with Yugi going back and forth in the shadow realm with evil people, is not so far out of the ballpark to me. It's really not.
Yeah, the
When I got
motorcycles are more of a
Yugi
spin.
in the shadow realm and them going back and forth in time to ancient Egypt and freaking Yami Bakura.
All right.
It's not out the ballpark.
Shout to Yami Bakura.
Something else with bad world building? SpongeBob.
Oh goodness.
SpongeBob's world building is random.
Sounds like a hot take to me.
That ain't no hot take. That's the truth.
Yeah, it changes episode to episode.
No, yeah, that's the truth. You know, like,
That's not a hot take. Like SpongeBob, the same Krusty Krab for 5 seasons. It's his same house. Gary's still
Forever.
meowing. Like there's not a lot of extra stuff. Him still taking his driving exam. Like it's not a lot of world building in that.
Yeah, and it's like all those people that are affiliated with SpongeBob in those situations always do the same thing. They never are doing anything else. And if they are, it's for one quick episode, like Mrs. Puff getting sent to jail, you know.
no, still that same boy talking about my leg. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Fairly Odd Parents actually has surprisingly a lot of world building, I'd say. I don't think it's particularly good, but like they're actually going.
They got world building.
They got Method Man. Method Man's in Fairly Odd Parents. Like what the fuck?
We didn't like it. Like we didn't like once Poof and then they added the dog and then splitting. But like they added they tried to add world building, but it wasn't good the route that they chose to make.
Yeah,
so
they had
cartoon world building. Oh, where do you? Well, we can continue. Where we're gonna rank it? Where do we rank?
Rick and Morty got good world building.
I do think Rick and Morty has good world building.
Rick and Morty does have good world building.
I think Rick
Based
and Morty
off Rick,
has,
yeah.
I think Rick and not even just based off Rick, you know, because we get to see a lot of different alien species, and then in later episodes we see them interacting with each other and stuff.
Well,
so we know that the world goes on even when Rick's not there. And have you guys seen the last season?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like with the finite curve, you know, it's like it adds even more development to the world. So it's like it's really complex because it's like Rick has molded all these universes to be in a line to where he's the smartest person in the universe. It's like that makes sense from the world that they built and the citadel of bricks and everything. It's I think that show has better world building than like almost anything else, I think.
Shout out to Gravity Falls having a good world building also.
And I mean, it has better world building than anything else within the show, specifically, by the way.
All right, so the main question was, did Dragon Ball have good world building?
No.
Does Dragon Ball have good world building? I don't like when people say that Dragon Ball doesn't have a plot. That's completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It has a firm storyline, but world building, not so much.
Okay, I would say the world building is mid, and in Super they tried to do the same thing that I feel like Fairly Odd Parents did. They tried to add world building, and it doesn't go well. But the reason it doesn't go well is not because of the other universes aren't interesting. Like they have characters like Jiren or the other Saiyan races, or even like Hit. They have people that are interesting so that you could branch into the other universes. They just choose not to do that. They choose, okay, we're just still going to make it the Goku and Vegeta show, and we're going to focus on what their adventures are instead of just actually exploring the other universes or the other characters that you've introduced. Like we would love to find out more about the Angels. We would love to find out more about the other 4 universes that didn't participate in the Tournament of Power. We would love to find out more about Jiren's master or more about the Sand race. It's just they chose not to explore those options when they introduced them in Super.
I gotta say real quick, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, we gonna find out about that, bro.
I don't think that Dragon Ball has bad characterization. I think that it has a very specific sort of characterization. Like rather than trying to make a sympathetic character or a character that the viewer empathizes with, they make a character that the viewer like tries to like make their persona. You know, it's like you pick one that represents you. And like Pokemon does a similar kind of thing, you know, where it's like these Pokemon do have personalities. But it's like it's on a micro level to where you just like directly attaching certain things to your own personality, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. But the problem is that Dragon Ball doesn't go much further than that.
I think Dragon Ball excels in character. And why I say that, it's like Vegeta in his last arc going back to being like his Vegeta versus Goku arc for the most part, just like, yo, I only had to fight shit to save shit. I get to fight niggas just to fight niggas. So it's just like, oh, I'm ready to throw hands with you. It is what it is. So you get to Vegeta in his pure aspect. And you haven't seen that since the 90s. He's always fighting for something, just like fighting to save Trunks, or fighting to save Trunks again in Majin Buu, or just like fighting for just the sake of saving the planet in the U7 tournament, whatever the case may be, or even just the tournament just to fight Hit. But I can just fight niggas. Sure, let's do that. So just like even the characterization of Bardock would just be like, oh, make a wish. All right, well, I just want my sons to prosper. That's it. So it's just like he makes the wish for them. That's characterization with Goku to be who he is and just give him plot or whatever the case may be. I mean that counts as characterization in my eyes for me.
Yeah.
So I don't think characterization is poor. Even Frieza has characterization. It's just like, yo, y'all niggas know I never trained, right? It's just like he just like does his extra shit. Just like, if I trained, y'all would never beat. So it's just like Frieza is a very in-depth character from at least Z to Super. Like he's still a piece of shit, but it's just like, yo, I was that fucking cocky. I didn't train.
Yeah.
And that's not even bringing up like the Red Ribbon Army and Hercule and you know what I mean, and Capsule Corp and all of that.
I think Dragon Ball is very in depth for characterization. I'm not gonna cap that as not, but just like Cell's is like, I'm better than all you niggas.
Yeah.
Once I absorb this motherfucker, I'm better than all you niggas right now.
Yeah,
like
I think
you can't stop it.
Dragon Ball to me is almost like 100% characters and lore. The only reason I would say Dragon Ball doesn't really have great world building is because they're like you hear about things that exist or places that exist, but when you see them, they're almost always barren wastelands. It's like we get to see hell, but hell is just a red place with some bones. We get to see heaven, but heaven is just an office with some clouds. We get to see Otherworld, but Otherworld just looks like King Kai's planet, but bigger. And it's like a hyperbolic time chamber is just a big empty place, and it's like that kind of stuff holds back the world building because when
does that hold back the world building, or is it hold back like our perception of it? Because like if you take it down to like the writer, like those places are there, like that world building is there, but like it's not visually appealing, so it kind of takes away from it, and you don't really you're not able to notice it as easily as like when you got a whole environment and they took time on the detail and things like that. Like, do you think that's what makes it suffer? Because
I mean, I get what you mean. like I don't know. Like I mean, it takes away to me because I'm like when I think of world building, I think of like the depth and the complexity and like the layers to what's going on. But in Dragon Ball, it's like, oh, what's up with the Kais? It's like, oh, well, they're they work for angels and they live in other world, and there you go. That's the Kais. That's the whole shit, you know. And it's like, oh, what's up with the hyperbolic time chamber? Oh, it's an endless void where you can train in. That's it. There's no more like, there's nothing else to it, you know. And Dragon Ball doesn't offer anything else like that, and it doesn't even try to.
Do you
And
think? Well, my bad. I don't want to cut you
no,
off.
you're good. You're good. And
I was just thinking maybe like this is just a theory at this point. Y'all think that it's like that because they want us to see Kanda through the eyes of like Goku or Vegeta or like these fighting characters that
I think they want to see us. I think they want us to see through his journey, like running through Snake Way, running through training Kaioken, running through training Otherworld and learning instant transmission and anything, learning through Beerus and learning through King Kai, and just like the whole thing of Dragon Ball is just Goku's journey. So I get that, and well, you get to see Vegeta's journey as well as a caveat. And if you're lucky, you get to see Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, maybe in Piccolo's journey through just lower, just low hanging fruit training. So I mean, I think that's all what Dragon Ball is.
No, I give it a little more credit than that. I just think it suffers from when you go on so long and you start to lose direction of what your purpose of your show is. The purpose of the show originally, yeah, we're following Goku's adventures, but the other characters had more of a role. Like they had more of a world building role up through the Android and Cell saga, because we can say, okay, they explored everything from Goku to Piccolo's origins from all the way back from Dragon Ball. He actually comes back from Namek, doubling that back around to actually going to the planet Namek, learning more about Piccolo's origins, learning more about the Dragon Ball origins, why they have that there, doubling that even back around to coming back into the Red Ribbon Army. So they had good world building in that. It's just once you go past that, it's like some of what Atazuku says. We introduced the Kais in the Blue Saga, but the Kais is like, okay, well, the one Kai we see is basically useless, and the rest of the Kai, we got old Kai and we got the Kai word. It's like, eh. And then so in Super, they double back around even to Yardrat, and then make that more of a place to explore more and more places we get to know, which is more world building added on in a good way. And then you add like other universes and other angels, but you don't add more to them or let us see more of them. He's up until right now, at least. So to me, it's like it's hit or miss whether they choose to address world building or not, or they just focus like, okay, this is gonna be Goku and Vegeta. We can say this one with the Granola arc has some world building aspects to it, because okay, they go back to Bardock and more of the pride of the Saiyan and stuff like that.
And there's another dragon.
We can say that. But we can also say that the entirety of the Moro arc didn't add anything world building wise. It was just like, oh, Moro's an old person in the galactic jail. They don't even explore much of the galactic jail in and of itself. They just explain Maris a little bit, and just they had brought him in as a brother to Whis, but they don't really explore sibling relationships too much in the world of angels or anything of that nature. It's like, oh, this is a brother. This is Moro. He's an evil old wizard. Fight them. And it's just like, so they're like hit or miss at this point, whether they choose to add something to the lore or not. So,
yeah. To answer Zell's question a moment ago, I do think that it's relevant to consider like the perception of the character themselves and what they might be seeing in that moment, right? Like just going off the idea that the hyperbolic time chamber might actually be full of shit, but Goku's brain is like, nah, I'm here for the punching part.
Yeah, for real.
So it's like that could totally be the case. And so like I feel like there's a point where we're probably giving too much credit to the writer who didn't necessarily think of those things, but I do think
I think we definitely are.
Yeah, I think that's relevant though.
I miss Dragon Ball where Vegeta had a panic attack, thinking Trunks and Vegeta was gonna be stronger than him.
I think it's definitely relevant. Like a writer who's writing a story for this certain protagonist and on top of that, Toriyama, this man not like a writer. He draw like
Also,
he's
but
an
like,
artist
that's the next thing I wanted to say
with a
too.
character in mind.
Because like your individual perception of the series is going to decide how much credit you give the world building and things of that nature, right? Like I really like the beginning of Super, for example. Like even though people are like, "Oh, the animation sucks" or whatever, the part that I liked about it was that it's a return to what Dragon Ball was originally, which is a comedy series. People always make Dragon Ball an action series, but it's not. It's a comedy, and it just has fighting in it.
They do that same thing with One Piece. One Piece of comedy, yo. Stop playing.
The entirety of Dragon Ball is a comedy. He is 100% right.
And it's not until Z that it's like, oh, we're super serious, And it's like, I mean, even in Goku's still patting people's balls by the end of Dragon Ball, like, but so it's like I feel like series like that are so prolific and they've gone such a long time, sometimes they need to be segmented.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to comic book writers for reestablishing established comic book characters and just establishing just like new world building with them, just like Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder for what they did with Batman and Quarter Owls. It was just amazing what they did with him. It's just like, all right, we're gonna make Batman just be completely vulnerable, not know this shit was going on in his city for all this time. It's just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
that was one of the best Batman runs I ever read in my life. It's just like, that shit is amazing. The shit they did with the Riddler, the shit they did with Joker coming back, death of the family, stuff like that. Also, Greg Pak, what they did with the Hulk, and Hulk is one of the hardest characters to write for. It's just he's just a rampaging monster, just fuck shit up. But no, they had Planet Hulk, and he was fine, he was peaceful, he was good, and then the shit happens. It's like, oh, we're gonna do Hulk coming back to Earth. He's super mad and fuck niggas, all that other shit. I get it.
Real quick.
Red Hulk was a rant.
My guy, let's go.
It was a hard rant, but it came from that, so I will allow it. Superman, another hard person to write for because he just has all the powers. But the shit they did with Superman, he was chilling in the sun, bench pressing the sun, and just like, oh, you got sun cancer. I don't know why, but cool shit there.
Yeah, it's definitely really hard, I think, to write comic characters because they're so restrained by the history. Even if it's like you're resetting the world, let's say they do New 52 too. It's like you don't really have freedom here. It's like you can change a lot of stuff, but like there's still some things about the world and the way they've been built up that have to maintain.
It takes super creativity. Like they wrote Donald Blake Thor, and it's like, yo, Donald Blake was a sucking doctor with a cane, and just like, oh, I can turn into Thor. That way back in the day for the people watching, but they don't know what Donald Blake was doing in that realm when he was Thor. That nigga was going crazy in a town that didn't exist, and just like, oh, fuck you, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
we read that, and Spider-Man had an amazing run, which I shitted on verbally on Facebook, but it wasn't Jason Aaron, it was Dan Slott. He wrote the Superior Spider-Man run with Doc Ock had Peter's brain, and Peter had Doc Ock's brain, and he was just going around be Superior Spider-Man. I was like, oh, this is shit. And just like once I read it, it's just like, oh, it was really different. But the new House of X stuff with X-Men and what they're doing with that.
Yeah, man.
These comic books are just like, they're off the chain.
You know what was
different
hard
stuff
too?
They're doing.
Wolverine Origins.
Wolverine Origins.
Yeah, Wolverine had been around for like 50 years before Origins, man.
I personally hated Wolverine until I read that run, Wolverine Origins, where he went to hell, and every time he died in one of his stories, he went to hell. He had to fight the devil to come back to life. I was like, oh,
Woo.
this shit is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, a lot of
like these fucking comic book writers is just like, I'm gonna make this an age old 40+ old character, make him seem like he's brand new. It's like the Jason Aaron Hawk, just like, oh, make a Hawk a warship. Hit this fucking button and he's gonna fight all these niggas in his head, but he's really like level 7 anger, and then he turns into Titan Hawk. Hawk has a Hawk.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about them like flipping genders and races, because like I feel like people underestimate the like how much can actually change. Like, you know, if Batman was like South Asian, you know, he'd be a completely different dude than a billionaire Bruce Wayne in the middle of major US city, you know what I'm saying? Like, and people really underestimate those differences. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if you were to make someone like what would a male Jean Grey be like? Male Jean Grey's experience would be different. You know, people would probably be trying to weaponize him as a youth and like really putting him in the middle of the shit rather than him having this like protected back burner like role, especially like depending on who's writing it too and whose perception of that gender and that race or whatever comes into play. Like that goes back to what Zell was saying. You know, we'd be seeing the world more from that actual character's perspective, which is where I think the best writing comes from.
Zell and Murray, I'll ask y'all this: do you think Black Panther has the most freedom in anime, and not anime, cartoon, not hopefully it'll be cartoons, it'll be comics at this point?
Black Panther.
Mexican Batman.
Pause real quick.
Black Panther. Do you think Black Panther has the most freedom in comics?
What do you mean by most freedom?
The most freedom do you want? Like Black Panther has his own galaxy, different story arc.
Oh, like him as a character, does he have the most freedom?
Yeah, to just like as like the right whatever you want. Like he had his own galaxy sector in comic, so just like can't really write that for Spider-Man. I mean,
I'm sorry. While they think about this, can I respond to this? Because like comics are doing better than ever. They're selling so much more than ever, and they're getting turned into billion-dollar movies. Like if we're talking about comics not doing well or being killed, you have to take into account that they're being directly turned into the most lucrative products that they've ever been turned into. Like, so it's like that's not true. And then also it's like you're talking about how like nobody wants a Mexican Batman. It's like, are you Mexican? Because like Mexican people, I bet you there's a lot of Mexican people that would.
They definitely do have a Mexican Batman. I'm not
yo, it's hard to see ourselves clearly. Look.
Yeah, right. Like people be like, oh, nobody wants a black Superman, but I'm like, I want it. I'll take it. Like
we definitely have prevalent Superman.
You want to throw a black Superman? Be my guest. Screw it. I've seen a black Iron Man. I
wouldn't mind.
You know, I've seen a female Black Panther. Screw it. You want to change up some stuff? I'll take that. I'll watch it.
Yeah, if you want to put Nubia in a Wonder Woman movie instead of Wonder Woman, I will eat that. Like you can give that to me.
All right, but look, before we run out of time, I just want to shout out Star Wars for their world building. Star Wars is one of my favorite worlds. Like
they
don't like anybody black, but fair enough.
I love Star Wars.
I'm sorry, this guy says we're pandering for liking things.
Y'all pandering?
That's crazy.
Pandering,
that's not a BMT.
Wait. Pandering to who? You're the only.
What? We're definitely not pandering to you because you're here.
The only thing I'll say, just to go with Logan, I don't understand how growing popularity for the comic book brand would kill it. I don't quite understand that statement. I don't get how, comic books growing and getting to a media to where it could become a worldwide name. For some of them, they weren't, but now we can say, oh, Black Panther is a worldwide name because of the movie, possibly. Or we can say different people like Iron Man, Thor, some of the lesser ones, Black Widow, freaking War Machine. We can say some of them are household names now because of their appearance in the MCU. And somehow that kills comics and the original franchise they come from. I don't quite understand it.
Yeah, okay, let's tell the truth. Iron Man was fucking whack before the MCU. Okay, Iron Man was fucking lame. Iron Man did like two cool things ever before that, and he looked like a literal like fucking knight. Like they changed that dude's whole image. Like he's a completely different character than before the MCU, and I just think that's not.
We're not gonna do that. Iron Man was shit before the MCU.
Yeah, like come on, bro. Like yes, he was. Iron Man was terrible before the MCU, bro.
He wasn't nowhere near as popular. I'll say that. He was not nowhere close to being as popular as he is.
Shout out to the MCU for taking a chance.
I never liked Iron Man before the MCU. Didn't like him. Was not his man's. Not at all. Not my man's at all. Especially after Civil War, bro.
I ain't gonna say people didn't like it, but he was nowhere close to this popular. A lot of the characters in the MCU nowhere close to being as popular as they are now. Doctor Strange just had a movie that is, breaking records on its own. And I guarantee you 15 years ago, when the MCU was first being started, wasn't nobody checking for Doctor Strange nowhere near as much as they are now.
What? Who cared about Rocket Raccoon other than Marvel vs. Capcom fans before Guardians?
Me.
I know they popular.
Me.
I promise you.
Shout out to fucking Annihilation. No. If you read that Annihilation War, Rocket Raccoon's that man.
Trying dudes hard right now.
You
want me to pull out the comics, my guy? You see
then than they are now.
You see that Hornets locker? You see that Hornets locker? That's full of comic, dog. Don't make me bust it open, bro. Man. Don't do this.
Yo, shout out to Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah, I never thought Guardians of the Galaxy was gonna be the one.
Like the Guardians, they were popular. You cannot say they were more popular before the movies than they are now. How does that make sense?
It's not true.
No.
Yeah, it's
not true at all.
Like, bro, like nobody fucking knew who Gamora was. I don't give a fuck. Like, only the most hardcore people had even heard of her. Like, you could have asked people that watched every other MCU movie and have read tons of comics.
Okay. That's what I'm saying, though. Look at your comment, bro. Your comment says, so you just show you don't know comics. Exactly. The people who do not read comics, they now know who Rocket the Raccoon is. Like, do you understand that? Like,
shout out to Rocket. Listen, it don't matter because Rocket made Marvel 3. We're not gonna act like he didn't just make a video game.
Oh, chop! That was a beast too. Like, I just don't. To round off that conversation, because we turned into is Marvel good or not, or movies?
We did the wrong thing.
Is the MCU killing comics? Is it pandering to race swap or gender swap a character? And maybe, but also maybe not. Maybe it's just cool.
Maybe not. Listen, to keep everything strong, we're gonna round it out here. Hope everybody appreciate it. But for Cartel, we're on Facebook. Just drop a subscribe, drop a like, drop a follow. It don't matter. One or the other. We're on Instagram, TikTok. We are dropping a YouTube channel, so watch out for that. This will probably be the first episode on the YouTube channel. We gather more. Just like we're on TikTok, all that shit. We are on Spotify, Google, Amazon, Samsung, any place that has podcast. Come check us out. Listen to us while you're at work on that third shift. You struggle on that third shift. I've been there before, but struggle. I'll struggle with you. You struggle with me. I'll be asleep. You'll be at work. But it's not about that. It's about me supporting you, supporting me. It's like keep us in your ears. You know what I mean? We got tons of episodes on there. Other than that, Some more episodes every week. We will be at BlerdCon. Check us out. Got some merch. That's all you really got to do. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to BMT Business Minded Talk. Shout out to Steven in the comments. Appreciate everybody. No, this is a chance for my co-host to sound off.
Yeah,
Leave it to them.
I just want to say, dog, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody from Belgium to New York, wherever you're from. I love you. Thanks for it, bro. Thanks for being here and being part of the show. Now the next thing I just want to say, if you're gonna steal this video, just cut out all the parts with me in it.
They steal the post. They don't steal the videos.
Yo, my guys continuing this conversation that ended 5 minutes ago, talking about people emotional. All right.
Zelno Bell. That's where I can find you at.
What's good, yo? Zelno Bell, Blerd Cartel. Y'all catch me on What It Sound Like tomorrow, Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be my boy Hollywood Sensei, my boy Cam, my boy Common. You know what I mean? Tomorrow we're gonna be asking the important questions like, is Tupac overrated?
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun.
Yes. You guys come tune in, try to sway our opinions. And what else we talking about? Oh, we're gonna make up some verses and get into some fun stuff. But that's the big question right now. Talk about some introspective artists. But yeah, is Tupac overrated? Ask yourself that.
Monterey Hudson.
So Monterey Hudson, catch me on TikTok, the Instagram, click the link tree, see what I got to say on the Blerd Cartel, overall 99, Buds, plenty to say.
Warriors in 6.
I'm going Warriors in 6, even though I am a fan. I'm voting
Yes,
with my head, not my heart. My heart is always Celtics all day, every day. But my head is like, the Warriors, been there, done that. And the finals is a big stage, and Celtics been a little shaky at crunch times. But we'll know. Either way, I'm be happy with a good series. That's all I want. So
don't forget, Blerd Cartel. We'll catch y'all at BlerdCon. We will be there. We will be interviewing on this live, personal, face to face. Whatever you got to say. Got some merch. Also support the Baychan. We will have a panel there. We are on Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Samsung Podcast. We are on there. Got the YouTube channel coming up for Blerd Cartel. Check us out there. We're on Facebook. Drop a subscribe. We're at 10,000 followers. Trying to get more. Actually, I think we had 10,000.1. 100 niggas in a day. Why not? Who cares?
That's what I'm here for.
That's just subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Get some exclusive content, working with other people to actually, I'll drop it. I'll drop it because I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. So Call to Action Comics, go follow that group right there. They reached out to us. So, I'm not ashamed to say Call to Action Comics. Go like their groups, follow their group. Y'all go. They're good guys. I had somebody come to me as a man. As a group, so I'm just still on all your content. So I'm just like, why'd you come work with me? I can't be a real nigga and do that. It's just like, you still on my content. You got it. You've been doing it. Go ahead. Ain't the real. It's pretty much dry. It's drywall and baby formula by the time you get the coke. Other than that, shout out to Coke Match Mondays. It's coming up.
Yeah,
shout out to Blerd Cartel, shout out to BlerdCon. Find us. Shout out to BMT Business Minded Talk. We're gonna talk to you. We have new episodes, new shows coming too. So a deep dive, Monterey Hudson, check him out. It's probably gonna come Mondays. Always BMT Business Minded Talk. We're gonna take the accountability hour. It might be niggas just taking accountability for shit. Maybe I should have done that girl like I did that. But
What
you
we
know,
talking about? Oh wait, I got lost right there.
the accountability hour. Niggas gonna take accountability for their actions.
Oh, okay. Oh, you talking about Kevin Samuels 2.0?
Ooh.
I'm not talking to a high value woman or nothing like that, but it's coming. So shout out to BMT Business Mind Talk on YouTube. Go follow them. Follow us on YouTube. The I don't know what it's called, but Chris guys stand out. We here. We gone. Check us out on Spotify. Shout out to the United States. We're giving us the most fucking downloads. We check y'all next week.
Yes.